Apples. They are everywhere, from books to computers. They are the most widely consumed fruit in America. But there are a lot of secrets in the forbidden fruit. So here are top 10 things you do not know about the world's favorite fruit, apples. 1. Apple seeds don't produce apples. You probably have seen apple seeds in apples. However, they do not produce apples. If you plant those seeds in the soil, you will only get crabapples. What are crabapples? They are miniature versions of apples that are usually sour and hard, not really fit for eating. There are many varieties of crabapples, each with a different taste as well. You can probably find them in the botanical garden or in some other places. 2. Grafting is the only way to reproduce apples. Because apple seeds do not produce the same apples we eat, creating apples of the same variety is not easy. Grafting is the ancient technique of inserting the shoot or bud of the apple-bearing branch into the rootstock or trunk of another, so we can create apples of the same variety. Once grafted, all the new buds will grow fruit using the rootstock or root system. 3. Apples originated from Kazakhstan. All of the apples known today are descendants of the wild apples that evolved in Kazakhstan. At least 157 other plant species found in Kazakhstan are either direct descendants or close wild relatives of domesticated crops. There are still wild apple forests in the mountains of Kazakhstan. Kazakhstan is a big country in Central Asia. The apple has been evolving in Central Asia for more than 4 million years. The name of Kazakhstan's largest city, Almaty or Almaty, as it is known today, even translates as father of apples or, according to some, where the apples are. 4. Apples are very dirty. Apples are delicious and pests love apples too. Pesticides are chemicals used to destroy the insects and other organisms that are harmful to the apples. Pesticides used on apples remains very high because apple growers want to meet marketplace demand for inexpensive, blemish-free fruit. Pesticides could be also harmful to humans. Most of the pesticides sticks to the skin of the apples. So even though apple skins are high in nutrition and fibers, you should probably take the effort to peel the skin of the apple. 5. There are 7,500 varieties of apples. Apples come in a huge variety of colors, sizes, shapes, and flavors, some that many people may have never experienced. Most American supermarkets carry only a handful of variety of apples. The most popular variety of apples are Pink Lady, Empire, Fuji, Gala, Golden Delicious, Granny Smith, Honeycrisp, Macintosh, Red Delicious, and the list goes on. Unique apples are worth seeking out. Roadside stands, farmer markets, and orchards are some of the best places to find fresh, locally grown apples. 6. Apples are stars in many stories, myths, and legends. Apples are commonly believed to be the forbidden fruit in the Garden of Eden. Most modern Christians suppose that Eve snatched the apple for Adam at the serpent's bidding, forever banishing them from paradise. The famous Greek myth concerns the golden apple labeled with "to the fairest." Eris, goddess of discord, caused a quarrel amongst the goddesses. Paris, the son of King of Troy, is chosen to settle the dispute. Paris chose Aphrodite, who had promised him Helen of Sparta in return. This promise ultimately resulted in the Trojan War. The moral of the story: apples can be trouble. Among the Greeks, the golden apple of immortality grew on a tree hidden in the orchard near Atlas. The nymph daughters of Atlas protected the apples with help of a dragon from giants who continuously tried to steal them. Hercules later stole these apples as one of his 12 labors. Simply possessing the apples guaranteed immortality, a right the gods reserved for themselves. In Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, the main plot of the story involves Snow White eating a poisonous apple given by the evil queen. She fainted into an eternal sleep. 7. Granny Smith and Macintosh are named after real people. The world's most common green apple, the Granny Smith, is actually created by a real granny, with the last name Smith. In 1868, Miss Maria Ann Smith discovered the French crabapple seedling growing by a creek on her farm, and then started cultivating this apple. Most of the Granny Smiths are grown in Australia. It's popular due to its waxy skin and tart flavor. The best-selling apple in Canada is of course a variety discovered in Canada, the Macintosh apple. In 1811, John Macintosh, a farmer, discovered a group of apple trees growing on his property in Ontario. He transplanted the trees to a location closer to his home, and one of them produced what became the Macintosh apple. Ugly apples may be super appetizing. Apple growers compete fiercely to produce the most attractive and easy-to-ship apples, rather than the most delicious apples, as taste takes a back seat. As a result, we'll only see very pretty and shiny apples with wax in the supermarket. If you see ugly apples in the farmer market, they most likely will be much tastier. Do not judge a book by its cover, and do not judge an apple by its looks. 9. Who created the famous apple dishes? The first written recipe of apple pie was made by Geoffrey Chaucer. It originated in England. The Greeks and Romans mastered the art of making apple cider at around 55 BC. Pastilla is a Russian dessert that originated in the 17th century. It contains a lot of apples and is very nutritious. 10. Americans eat a lot of apples. America has the world's largest consumers of apples. Americans eat an average of 50 pounds of apples per person per year, and the fruit is only second to bananas in popularity. Italy, France, Poland, and Germany lead apple production in Europe. Europeans eat an average of 40 pounds of apples per person per year. Wild apple trees grow in China's Tian Shan Mountains, which border Kazakhstan. China now is the world's largest apple producer. It produces more than 1.5 billion US bushels of apples a year, about half the world's supply and nearly 7 times the amount grown in America. Many of those apples end up as juice concentrated to export to America. In US, Washington has been the largest apple producer since the 1920s. The apple has become so iconic to the state that Washington is sometimes referred to as the Apple State. New York, Michigan, Pennsylvania, and California are other top apple producing states.